Hello, my spooky, beautiful movie peeps. Thanks so much for clicking on this video. Let's talk about some movie news. Some of the things we'll be discussing here today, guys, is we finally have a list of horror movies that are going to be made fun of in Scary Movie 6. With the recent success of The Conjuring, get ready for so much more Conjuring movies and TV shows headed your way. A ton of little updates with Avengers Doomsday from Tobey Maguire sightings, Russo brothers posting cryptic images. We'll be diving into that along with so much more. You guys know the drill. Timestamps in the description. Comment down below your thoughts. And real quick, thank you guys so much for all the love with the spooky vlog. That's become a great annual tradition that brings a lot of stress, but also a lot of happiness with your guys' reaction. I was finally glad when I posted that video because I could finally focus on doing my usual content, but then I decided to go to Halloween Horror Nights. Still need to get that footage together and post that for you. Sorry. But then I was offered the chance to go meet Chris Stuckman and see Shelby Oaks. So that had me away for a while, and I do have a video of that interaction and eventually a review on Shelby Oaks. But all this to say, been feeling very blessed and loved by you guys. Thank you so much. And I appreciate your patience whenever there's days I don't post. It's not because I'm laying in bed. Trust me. It's always because I'm wanting to work on the next big thing for you guys. So enough blabbing. Let's get to the news. And well, I was honestly blown away with the success of The Conjuring this weekend. I walked out okay with the film. A lot of people came out disappointed, not loving it. Others were just happy to see a nice conclusion for Ed and Lorraine Warren, these characters they've grown to like. But man, the people showed up at the box office. I knew it was gonna probably do okay. I was not expecting it to break so many records and end up in the same category of talk as the It movies. So it's no surprise now we are starting to get announcements of TV shows and movies, starting off with the official side. For one, we get the official confirmation that the Conjuring TV show that they announced like 4 years ago is finally moving forward. I guess they were waiting on to see if people still cared on whether to make this show. Nancy Wan is going to be the showrunner. Some of her credits include things like Marvel's Jessica Jones, Jericho, and Supernatural, while the writing team of this show is going to consist of people who have worked on Agatha All Along, Moon Knight, Star Wars is the Acolytes, The Boys, Gen V. It's a handful of stuff that you maybe have seen, but I would say is kind of a mixed bag. Honestly, I'm just more curious about the premise that they're going to go with for this TV show, because when watching Conjuring: The Last Rites, it felt very obvious they're setting up for a prequel here. They gave us a scene with young Ed and Lorraine Warren. They also had a moment in the movie where they're like, we've had over 1,000 cases. That's a lot of episodes we could make on HBO Max, by the way. They said that in the movie. They just looked at the camera and said it. I was surprised. It's like a jump scare. To me, the route to go with is the Warren Museum and just making an episode based off every item in that room. You don't even necessarily have to have Ed and Lorraine Warren involved every time. You could have the episode be with different characters, families, getting haunted by this thing, and then every episode ends with like Ed and Lorraine Warren stepping into the door, knowing that they're going to solve the problem. But it's not just this TV show that's moving forward. We got a report from Puck News where they're saying that Warner Brothers is now going to be going forward with a Conjuring prequel that will be separate from this TV show, which I think throws my fan theories and confusion into what the TV show could be, because I don't think you would want to do the same thing you're doing in the TV show in your prequel movie. Maybe in the TV show they just focus on the artifacts and not necessarily the Warrens, and in the movie it could be the Warrens involved in some early cases. I could see that happening. I don't mind it. To me, it's just this last movie, I was just really growing tired of the formula in the Conjuring universe, specifically the haunted house or entity. Plus, with it being a prequel, you'd have to recast those roles, and I think Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga have just made them really iconic. Who do you even get to replace them? I don't know, but one thing's for sure, after that big box office weekend, we ain't seeing the Conjuring franchise die anytime soon. Let me know what you guys think about some of these updates with the Conjuring franchise. Next up, we got a report that came out this week letting us know that it looks like Universal is moving forward with a Jurassic World Rebirth sequel. This is coming from Daniel RPK, who did say that they are wanting to make another Jurassic World Rebirth movie along with still keeping Scarlett Johansson as the main lead. And not gonna lie, I'm a little surprised by it, because I was kind of 50-50 on whether she'd return or maybe they would just have new main characters every new Jurassic World movie. Still though, I'm not mad about it. I was one of the people that actually enjoyed Jurassic World Rebirth in kind of the same way I enjoyed Jurassic Park 3, knowing it's not necessarily a great movie, but it's guilty pleasure fun, and those dinosaur action sequences I thought were really cool. But a lot of fans out there are very vocal of the disappointment they felt watching that movie. I'd really love to see if they can address some of those concerns, or if they can take this new series into a more fulfilling direction, because again, I do not think the last Jurassic World series took it into a fulfilling direction, but I feel like there is promise with the way Rebirth ended. These characters publicly giving out basically the source code to make their own dinosaurs, I think it opens for a world of possibilities where any company can now make crazy dinos, and now Scarlett Johansson and those characters from the last movie have to deal with those consequences because they let that stuff out everywhere. We'll see what happens, but I'd like to know from you guys, are you happy with Scarlett Johansson coming back, and where would you want them to go for the next Jurassic World movie? Something that definitely got me extremely excited, we had Marlon Wayans give us an interview, I'm guessing in promotion for his upcoming horror movie Him, where he let us know 7 horror movies he plans to make fun of in Scary Movie 6. Now again, some of these movies I think are obvious, others kind of surprised me that he mentioned, and we should also know this isn't the complete list. There's gonna be, I think, dozens of horror movies made fun of, whether for long sequences, the entirety of the film, or just one little joke. But okay, looking at what he's got right now, starting off with 2 ones that I was like, yeah, of course he's gonna make fun of those. Nope and Get Out. I think Jordan Peele is gonna be a big target for Scary Movie 6 just because of the impact he's had on the horror genre the last couple of years. And again, I always want to emphasize, if your movie gets made fun of in Scary Movie 6, it's not because it's a bad movie. If anything, it's because you made such an impact, it's worth trying to parody. To me, I think Get Out was also such an impactful movie. I feel like there's going to be multiple Get Out jokes. The next 2 on there that I also think are obvious is I Know What You Did Last Summer and Scream. Slightly surprised, I guess, with I Know What You Did Last Summer, because I just don't think this newer version is going to have much of an impact. I know there are fans of it who liked it, and I'm happy, but I think it's more being included because the original Scary Movie made fun of Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer, and this new one is probably targeting making fun of horror movie reboots, so for sure got to bring up the reboot versions of the movies you originally made fun of. I'm just mainly excited to see that version of Ghostface come back and what other crazy faces they can make him do. Next 2 on the list is The Heretic and Longlegs. I was kind of surprised he mentioned Heretic. This is the first A24 movie that they've brought up, and I do think A24 neon elevated horror movies are going to also be a big topic of conversation during Scary Movie 6. And Heretic was actually my favorite horror movie of last year. Longlegs I think also has so much potential for them to make fun of, like having a guy with literal long legs. Imagining what song they could have someone sing in the Longlegs makeup. Let me in now, and it can be now. I've seen some fans already theorize like they could do something with the White Chicks franchise, since they put a side-by-side and White Chicks and Longlegs look pretty similar to each other. And the last one he officially mentioned was Sinners, which is a pretty recent movie, but it's obviously on its way to becoming a classic and impacting the horror genre huge. Smart move to get ahead and add that in. I have no problem with that. I just would like to add on a couple of other films. The Pearl series, come on, I would just love to see Anna Faris copy some of the things Pearl has done. Blumhouse's Halloween and Michael Myers, there's rumors that, he was wanting to make fun of that. Halloween and Michael Myers was too old of a property to include in, but now it's like been revitalized with Blumhouse. I'd love to see Michael Myers be thrown in there. Conjuring universe also is one I would like, although Marlon Wayans did kind of make fun of it in his Haunted House parody movie, but still, I wouldn't mind some more Conjuring stuff, especially with the weekend they just had, meaning a lot of people like The Conjuring. So yeah, really cool to actually have a list of horror movies we can expect to be made fun of. What scenes from these movies do you think will be made fun of in Scary Movie 6, along with any other horror movies you want added on? Next off, we have some superhero updates, beginning off with James Gunn's Man of Tomorrow. In a recent interview in the Howard Stern show, he has finally confirmed the plot fans have been theorizing with this movie. He let it be known that Man of Tomorrow is as much a Lex Luthor movie as it is a Superman movie, says James Gunn. It's a story about Lex Luthor and Superman having to work together to a certain degree against a much bigger threat. Pretty cool that all of us kind of assumed that was going to be what was happening, and that is what's happening. Again, my only fear with this is whenever James Gunn was like kind of confusing us a bit, saying, oh, this isn't Superman 2, Superman just has a large role in it. That was getting me scared, because I thought, oh, is he only going to have like a couple of scenes then? But him saying equally Lex Luthor, equally Superman movie, I'm like, okay. And to me, that's pretty much what you did in the last Superman movie, where Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor and David Cornsweet Superman both had a pretty equal amount of screen time. In my opinion, I think at least they did. And again, I just love this premise of Lex Luthor and Superman having to team up. I hope it's with Brainiac, but knowing James Gunn, it could be any random weird villain. We also know there's probably going to be a ton of other superheroes in this universe coming in, whether the Justice Gang, some rumors of Peacemaker and Jason Momoa's Lobo. I guess I'm just still wondering on the technical side of things. I'm like, why then isn't this exactly considered Superman 2. Is there like a legal reason we can't exactly have Superman 2 and that's why it hasn't happened for like decades? Because I do know the Superman movie always ends up getting sued. There was that legal battle that happened with this movie. There was even that same legal battle that was happening with Man of Steel. Is there some weird thing where like they can't exactly make a solo Superman sequel? So they loophole around that Hulk style where they have to make it a team-up movie, and that's why we got Batman vs. Superman. We're getting Man of Tomorrow. I don't know, just a little conspiracy thinking there. But either way, man, I'm happy. And it's cool to have James Gunn clarify then that this is going to be a team-up movie between them. Who do you guys think the big threat is? Next up, we got a ton of little updates with Avengers Doomsday I definitely want to discuss with you guys. Starting off with something involving Channing Tatum's Gambit in Avengers Doomsday. Oh, you guys know how petty I am sometimes when I end up being proven right, although I'm wrong quite a lot. But when I get those small wins, I gotta shove it in your face a little. I remember when it finally got announced that Channing Tatum was gonna be in Avengers Doomsday, I said on this channel, don't expect him to be the same. I wouldn't even be surprised if he's a variant of the version we saw in Deadpool and Wolverine, and he's not as comedic, and he changes that accent. And a lot of y'all attacked me. A lot of y'all said, no, he's going to keep it. No, he's got to be the same funny guy. And now Channing Tatum has admitted and come out and said, he's changing the accent and the way he's portraying Gambit for Avengers Doomsday. He said exactly here, Tatum said he needed to demonstrate that the character's voice could still carry comedic and dramatic weight while delivering necessary exposition. There's a lot of exposition that has to happen in this movie, and you can even do that. And I think this is the smart way to go with it. It's not that I disliked what Channing Tatum did in Deadpool and Wolverine. I loved it and I was laughing at every second, but that tone, that version, and those lines he was saying would not exactly fit in with Avengers Doomsday.
I said we'd lose. You said, we'll do that together too. And guess what, Cap? We lost. And you weren't there.
I ain't know my daddy, but I'm sure I shot out of his dick ready.
So I figured they were going to have to tweak his character. He was going to take the role a little bit more seriously, and it's cool to hear he is doing that, and it looks like he's going to have a pretty nice role if he has to have a lot of dialogue and exposition in the film. So yeah, Channing Tatum won't be as like exaggerated and goofy as Deadpool and Wolverine, but I think that's kind of for the better. The Russo brothers also released this cryptic image the other day from the set of Avengers Doomsday, and everybody was going wild analyzing it when it just obviously looks like a chalkboard and the image from the Fantastic Four, and I think that's exactly what it is. Now, maybe the meaning and the equation that's on board will be significant. I know there was a line in the Fantastic Four where Reed says like, oh, I figured out how to jump multiverses.
This equation not only confirms alternate dimension, but it suggests parallel Earths exist.
And so maybe this could be that same equation, but it was definitely something fun to have everyone on the internet go crazy and speculate. And probably my favorite report going around right now, but I don't want to get my hopes up too high. Tobey Maguire having been spotted in London around the same area where they're filming Spider-Man Brand New Day and Avengers Doomsday. Okay, I still want to believe Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield will be coming back somehow, some way for one last hoorah, whether it's in a Spider-Man movie or in the team-up Avenger film. If I had to have it my way, I'd rather it be in like Avengers Secret Wars, because that way they can meet more than just Tom Holland Spider-Man. They can meet Hugh Jackman Wolverine, Ghost Rider, all these other characters, and it would be so wild to see happen. I kind of was not expecting Tobey Maguire in Doomsday or even Brand New Day. I mean, I had my theories at one point that Sadie Sink was going to be like Mayday Parker and that she like accidentally got sent to Tom Holland's universe and she's just kind of blending in, trying to figure out what to do. But I realized that's kind of crazy and it would definitely take away from the street level story they're going with. And there's also the obvious that Tobey could just be in London for personal reasons. He could be on vacation, he could be doing another movie, or he could just happen to be there. Either way though, I'm like, okay, might be something going on there. Andrew Garfield gets spotted in London, then it's really on. How are you guys feeling about some of these updates with Avengers Doomsday? What do you make of it? Love to hear your thoughts. Anyways, guys, that is all movie news we currently have going on right now. I want to thank you so much for taking time out of my day to watch me talk some movie news. Don't be forgetting to hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.